What if the biggest thing holding you back isn't failure, but the meaning you attach to it? Look, most people treat failure like it's a verdict or like a dead end. For some people, it's proof that they weren't good enough. But here's the truth about that. Failure is not a verdict. It's data. And when you learn to use that data, it can become fuel for growth. And so today, we're going to break down how reframing failure as feedback can radically transform your mindset, your confidence, and your potential. Welcome back to Built to Grow. I'm your host, Valdet Selimaj. This is your daily dose of development where we talk about leadership and psychology and the skills that help you flourish at work and in life. And today, we're talking about something everyone deals with, failure. But more importantly, how to fail better. But first, you have to understand, when it comes to failure, why do we fear failure? What drives that fear? Well, we were trained to fear failure. I mean, literally trained. Think back to your childhood. Wrong answers in school meant you failed. If you made mistakes, you got in trouble. That was failure. In your professional life at work, failure can cost you credibility. And then even in your personal and professional relationships, failure can feel like rejection. So we end up learning things like play it safe, be perfect, don't take risks. But here's the problem. You can't grow if you're committed to staying comfortable. You can't. And avoiding failure means you are avoiding progress. It keeps us stuck, it keeps us silent, and it keeps us small. But fear of failure isn't about the failure itself. It's deeper than that. It's actually about the story we tell ourselves when that failure happens. So we have to first start with the reframing of the story we tell ourselves. Let's flip the script. What if failure isn't a judgment? What if it isn't a sign you should quit? What if it's simply feedback? Feedback that tells you, hey, that didn't work, try again. Hey, you know what? Adjust the strategy. Improve the execution. When you see failure as feedback, you shift from shame to curiosity. And curiosity asks, hey, what can I learn here? What went wrong? What would I try differently next time? That makes failure become a doorway, not a dead end. Now, this is the difference between, of course, a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset, and this is based off Carol Dweck's work, so definitely worth checking out. She did a lot of research in mindset, but in her research, she found a fixed mindset says, I'm not capable. I can't do it. My skills are limited, my knowledge is limited, and I can't get any better. I can't do any more. But a growth mindset says, I'm not capable yet. And that one word, yet, changes everything. I'm not capable yet. I don't know how to do that yet. Yet is a powerful word. Let's look at real examples just to get a feel for what this looks like. So we'll do a couple of them. So let's do a failed project launch. So you launch a program, a course, campaign, something, and it flops. And failure mindset says, I'm bad at this. Feedback mindset says, why didn't this connect? Is my message clear? Did I target the right audience? Who needs the training? The event didn't change, only the interpretation did. Or another one, I've worked in leadership and professional development for a long time. When you don't get promoted, you worked hard, you applied, and then someone else got the job. And your failure mindset says, I'm not good enough. But feedback mindset says, what skills should I develop? What feedback can I ask for? How can I improve over the next 90 days? Again, it's the same event. Nothing's changed there, but it's the mindset. It's looking at it and giving a different outcome. Another one that all of us are familiar with is when your personal goals fall apart. You try to build a new habit. And if you check out the last episode, we talk a lot about, micro habits and habits, but you tried to build a habit and you didn't follow through. So the failure mindset naturally is going to say, I'm undisciplined. But the feedback mindset's like, maybe that plan wasn't sustainable. How do we make it smaller? How do we make it more digestible? How do we make it more achievable? And then what kind of support can you use? Or what kind of, maybe there's a way to track your goals better or create a stronger structure. But what it does, then it's not about you, it's about the design. And so you can look back at failure as feedback. But then the question becomes, well, how do we build a feedback mindset? Because people have a very strange relationship with feedback. But I want to help you put it right into practice. So here are a couple things that you can do, a couple steps to help you build a feedback mindset. Step 1, notice the emotional reaction. Don't ignore it. Name it. It happened. When you have failure, it is natural to have an emotional response to the failure. And actually, a lot of times people will procrastinate doing things because they're not afraid of the task. They're afraid of failure, but they don't name it. So name the emotion that you are experiencing. Don't ignore it. Name it. Step 2, separate your identity from the outcome. You are not your mistakes. You are the person who learns from them. Okay. You are not the mistake. You are the learner who is observing this external event and taking notes, which takes us to step 3. Ask feedback questions. What worked? What didn't? What assumptions did I make throughout this whole thing? What do I need to adjust? What knowledge do I need to gain? What skills do I need? Those are the things you want to start asking yourself when there's a failure. And then also step 4, debrief without blame. Use a neutral tone. There's no shame in failure, just data. So there's going to have to be, it's this person's fault. That's what happened. What caused the thing to fail? You just have to talk about it objectively, scientifically. The emotion is there, but we don't have to shift blame on anybody. Now we can take accountability for things, but that's going to be different than blame. And then step 5, when you revisit this, make the next step more simple. Just make one adjustment. You don't have to completely overhaul whatever it is that you did. Let's say you wanted to go to the gym 5 days a week and then you didn't and it didn't work. Cool. Make one small adjustment. Maybe you didn't make it to the gym on a Wednesday. Okay, cool. Maybe it's too early. Maybe set the alarm clock back 30 minutes. Something, but start with small. Make the next step small and simple, which also, step 6, you want to normalize this. So the more you do stuff like this, checking in with yourself for feedback, asking others for feedback, using a growth mindset, the more you do this, the faster it becomes your automatic response. So in other words, what's new becomes normal to your brain, and this becomes your default functioning. Now, this is also especially important if you are a titled leader, if you are a peer leader, if you aspire to be a leader, any of these things. If you're a leader, or also you're a leader of yourself, so that everyone's a leader in their own right. But if you're a leader, I want you to listen really closely. Leaders who punish failure create fearful teams, and fearful teams shut down. They avoid risk, they hide mistakes, and they stop innovating. But leaders who treat failure as feedback create teams that are more creative, more resilient, more collaborative, more accountable, and more cohesive. They don't ask who messed up. They ask, what did we learn here? That's real leadership, and that's real culture. That's real development. So here's your takeaway for today. Failure is not the end. Failure is only information. Failure is direction. Failure becomes feedback the moment you choose to interpret it that way. This week, when something goes wrong, instead of spiraling, pause, breathe, and ask, what's the feedback here? You'll be amazed at how quickly your growth accelerates. Thank you for tuning in to Built to Grow. If this podcast helped you, share it with someone who needs this shift today. And remember, develop boldly, grow intentionally, and always, always, always choose development that delivers. Thank you.